Hey, welcome back to Little Hollow Homestead. It's a little dark in here. I'm starting to do the electrical in the basement. I'll just kind of walk you through the steps and show you how I got started and some hiccups I had along the way. I made a big mistake and couldn't figure it out. Finally figured it out, something stupid. Anyway, we're off and running now. We're running the wire. I'll show you how I'm just starting to wire up one of the switches right here. I'll show you how to do that, and then how I'm wiring all the plugs. So let's get going. I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, to start off, when I wired this bathroom, I put a new breaker in the panel, and I ran wire to this plug, this light, and a plug over there by the toilet. So plenty of room to add a lot more power to this. So all I did is I came into the back of the plug here through the wall. I'll show you the other side in a minute, and put my hot wire into the plug here and my common wire, the white wire, in that side. Kind of hard to see, but you can see the silver head screw. That's always going to be the white or common. And then you've got the brass looking one. That's always going to be your black or your hot wire. So coming out of the back of the box, this is the power supply coming in to the box right here. So all I did is I added another line. It's not, I've got to fix it so it's not so kinked. But that's what I pulled power to into my new switch here for the bedroom. And here again, the top, if I can get my finger, the top is hot all the time, and then this is the connector pole to the light itself. So when the light is on, this circuit is closed. You have power going between it, and when it is off, you have it, the thing is open. The pole is open. So anyway, so I did that. So on the hot side here is where I ran my wire that will go to all of my plugs. And then from there, it's just, I screw this side into this side of that switch. I just continue the circuit all the way around. Do the same there. Do the same there. And just go all the way around. If you've bought any of this 212 wire lately, you swear it's made out of gold. It is very expensive. There you go. Hot wire goes across the ceiling. And to save a little bit of wire, since it is so expensive, rather than run the wire all the way behind that closet and all the way up this wall to this outlet, I chose to run it in the ceiling. Be a little cheaper, save me a couple of feet of wire. And then from there, we're going to run hot wire over to this storage room. And so right here, I'm starting to wire the switch for the storage room after I drop my screwdriver. So here again, the top wire coming in here, this black one, is hot all the time. And this is the one, the black wire that goes up to the switch. And that will, when I get it finished, will make and break this connection here with this switch. On this side, you take your two commons, these two white wires, and just put a wire nut on those and tie those together. They're common. Then this ground wire, you put up here on this green screw right here, so your switch is grounded. And you follow that same pattern all the way through. Your plugs, switches, everything, it's pretty much wired the same. You're gonna have your commons on one side of the outlet and your hots on the other side of the outlet. And that will bring you power all the way around and power up your room. So we'll get going here and I'll get it done and show you the finished product. Okay, so this is how I wire a outlet. Just want to score your wire about 6 inches. Careful not to cut through your sheeting on your actual wires. Get that out of the way. Then on your ground wire, you've got this little paper covering for the life of me, I don't know why they make it so hard to get off, but they do. Maybe that's why it's so expensive. All right, so there you go. So this is the power coming in. Holy cow. All right, so you've got your power coming in. Then this is the power that's running to my light switch that we just wired. So what I like to do is go ahead and twist my ground wires together. Hold the back of this so it doesn't twist on you. And just give it 3 or 4 good twists. Then I'll take and I'll cut one end off, so you really don't need that. And this is what's going to hook to the ground of your plug. Since this is 12-2 wire, that means it's 12 gauge. So you just look on here, find 12. That's the slot you want to use to strip about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of the insulation off your wires. And if you pull it on an angle, it usually comes off better than that. Just give it a, depending on the kind of strippers you've got. But that usually will, that insulation will come off a little easier. Then you ground. You have to twist this around, except I forgot my needle nose. Hold on. Got my needle nose pliers now. So what I like to do is you want to twist your wire. There again, you hold the back so you don't make a big wide loop in it. But you give you a nice little loop, something like that. You always want to bend it this way so that as you tighten the screw, it tightens your the bend in your wire. If you did it backwards, it would tend to pull this out and loosen and pull away from your outlet. Don't want that. Trying to crimp that down so it's nice and tight. I always like to go back with just a regular slotted screwdriver and make sure it's good and tight. So that's all you do. So here you go, you've got silver and gold. So there again, your black wire, your hot wires always go to gold, and your white wires always go to silver. So I'll follow that same process, get this hooked up. I'll show you the finished product and then how we get it back into the box. Okay, there you go. Your outlet's all wired up. You got white on silver. You got your ground on the green. And you got your black on the copper or brass, whatever that is. And I'll just tighten those up if I can see the slot. Make sure everything's good and tight. And then always pull on them. Make sure that you've got a good, strong connection there. It's really important. If you, I like to do it this way. You can also slide your wire in underneath that metal tab that you can see right there. I'm kind of old school. I like doing it this way. But anyway, then you just kind of accordion your wires. Back up into your box. And then these handy dandy little screws. Don't tighten them all the way up until you get them both started where they need to go. That was a trick my dad taught me. Comes in handy. Now you can go ahead and tighten it back in. Remember, you're just drilling into plastic, and those threads can strip really easy. So just nice and snug. I'll come back later and I'll actually, I don't know if you can see that. Let me flip you around to the other side here. So I will come back later after I get all my plugs installed around the room, and then I'll come back and I'll staple these to the studs. You use this type of staple here. It's got the plastic insulator on there, and you never want to put two together. You never want to have them. You never want to put it in like that. You want to make sure this is nice and flat when you tap it in. Each wire gets its own staple. And don't put them in too tight. You don't want this to be so tight that it crimps your wire. You've got plastic on plastic. So once it's fairly tight, that's snug. That's not going to go anywhere. But I'll come back after. That'll be what I'll finish up with, putting these staples on. So anyway, we'll go around the room and finish putting these plugs in, and we will show you the finished product when we're done. Okay, we've got all our wiring done. Plugs are in place, switches are in place. Everything is working. It goes off, light goes off. Hooray. Works. Awesome. So I thought we'd close out tonight's video over by Stephen again. And thank you for joining us tonight on this little electrical adventure I've been on. I'm by no means a professional electrician. I'm just figuring stuff out as I go, which is kind of how I've kind of lived my life. I've just kind of learned as I've went. Thank heavens for YouTube, right? I've actually learned a little bit about wiring watching fellow YouTubers, and got some pointers and some tips from them that I put into practice tonight. So it worked out great. Plugs work, switches work, lights work. We've got the rest of the basement to do, but I need to add some breakers into my panel box before I do that. So we'll do that another day. And so that wraps it up for tonight. Thank you, as always, for joining us here on Little Hollow Homestead. And hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you'd like. Comments are always welcome. We're all in this together, learning as we go. So thanks again. Have a good night. We'll catch you on the next one.